स्वामिन् नमस्ते नतलोकबन्धो कारुण्यसिन्धो पतितं भवाब्धौ मामुद्धरात्मीयकटाक्षदृष्ट्या ऋज्व्यातिकारुण्य सुधाभिवृष्ट्या स्वामिन्नमस्ते 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 जन्मानेकशतैः सदादरयुजा भक्त्या समाराधितो भक्तैर्वैदिकलक्षणेन विधिना सन्तुष्टैष स्वयम् साक्षात् श्री गुरुरूपमेत्य कृपया दृग्गोचरः सन् प्रभुः तत्त्वं साधु विबोध्य तारयति तान् संसारदुःखार्णवात् तत्त्वं साधु विबोध्य तारयति तान् संसारदुःखार्णवात्। जय गुरु, जय गुरु, जय गुरु। We are discussing the Prabhat Rishmi talks of Pujya Swamiji, which he gives after the Pushpa Samarpanam program, offering of flowers at his holy feet in the morning. All of us assemble, and with lot of devotion in the mind, the flowers that we collect, clean and keep nicely arranged in a vessel. One by one, we all offer our pranams at the holy feet of Pujya Swamiji. And after that, Pujya Swamiji speaks for a little while. These speeches are called Prabhat Rashmi, the morning rays, which are the messages for us for the whole day. And it enlightens us in the morning, makes our mind very divine, pure and sublime. So for few days now, I am doing this Prabhat Rashmi series, taking one by one the topics from the first volume of Prabhat Rashmi book. And yesterday, we did the talk which has been given the name, the heading as sublimity. We understood that Swamiji explained to us what is sublimity. When we worship, we go to temples or we worship in our own shrines, we sit quietly in meditation, read something about the Divine Lord. We feel sublime, purified. Swamiji says, fostering the link with the inward source is what brings sublimity. That is, when we consciously have a connection with our soul within, the source of everything, then we feel a sublimity. That is what happens when we worship, if we worship with a calm mind, if we chant slokas with full of devotion and love, forgetting everything else, loving the Supreme Lord, about whom the slokas are, the stotras are, in praise of the Supreme Lord. When we chant them, sing bhajans, or even listen about Him, we actually get connected with our inner self, our antaratma, and we feel sublime, as if we are bathed from inside, as if all our shackles, all our problems are removed. We feel blissful, and we feel as if we feel unburdened, light and divine. So, yesterday we went through this talk, sublimity, and Swamiji ended this talk saying that spirituality aims at touching the deepest level of human personality and manifesting this sublimity. He had also said that day will be the best day when you will be able to look at the most affluent earth and feel the touch of divinity in the various objects and life forms. Feel the supreme presence that makes the earth revolve, the seasons arrive in turn, the plants and trees blossom. He says that day will be the best day when we can feel this divinity everywhere in this whole universe, and also through everything, through every perception and every action. How beautiful all this is, provided you can look at it with a comprehensive vision. I think this sublimity, the generation of it, experiencing it, being enriched by it again and again, is the one purpose of bhakti as well as spiritual life. So, this sublimity is something which we should aim for. Whatever we do, even the devotional and spiritual practices, the religious practices, if those do not bring about sublimity in us, the feeling of divinity, the feeling of lightness, feeling of and a bliss which is independent of anything else, which surges forth from our own within, if that sublimity is not had, then these practices have no meaning. We may be doing these practices like we do every day. We light a lamp, incense sticks, we chant slokas. People do it day after day, day after day. But these should actually generate the sublimity in the mind, where we will find divinity everywhere, every moment, in everything. So, spirituality aims at touching the deepest level of human personality and manifesting this sublimity. He said at the end, feel sublime, allow yourselves to be enriched by this sublimity. We did up to this. The next one, which has been published, actually in between many talks he had given, because as you know in this book, we have not been able to publish every day's Prabhati Rashmi. But we have chosen some in sequence. The next one, the previous one was 6 June 1997, and this one is of 12 June 1997. And in this, Swamiji has spoken about divinity in everything. In sublimity, he has said that day will be the best day when you will be able to look at the most affluent earth and feel the supreme presence and feel the divinity everywhere. So, the next Prabhat Rashmi, where he is speaking in this book, is divinity in everything. How do we find this divinity? We have to see divinity everywhere, but how? Swamiji says, yesterday I was speaking about sublimity. How to generate sublimity by one's own sublime practices. In the previous talk, he told us even the small ceremony of Pushpa Samarpanam, which we do every day, how we should do so that our mind and heart is filled with sublimity. How the flowers should be plucked from the garden, with what feeling they should be cleaned, how they should be arranged in the vessel, and then each devotee, how we receive the flowers, holding the flowers tenderly and lovingly, how humbly we proceed towards the holy feet of the Guru, and how gently we offer these flowers at his feet, and how humbly we do pranam at those divine feet. When it is done like this, feeling and aiming in being bathed with a pure feeling, then sublimity will be had. That is, by doing simple acts of everyday life, we can become sublime. Yesterday I was speaking about sublimity, how to generate sublimity by one's own sublime practices. You have to become sublime and divine, and then you will find sublimity in everything around you. When you start becoming sublime and divine in your thoughts, in your speech, in your actions and interactions, the whole personality changes. We become more and more soft and tender, more and more devotionful, unawares, and all our actions, all our thoughts, they become sublime by itself, spontaneously. So, we have to first aim for that sublimity. In the last talk, Swamiji said one has to will for it. That is, the yearning should be there, that I should be sublime. When I interact with somebody, people should feel that sublimity is emanating from the talk, the way one talks, the way one behaves, the way one does any action. Not hurriedly, not too fast, not ignoring others. It should be sattvic. So, he says that when we become sublime and divine, you will find sublimity in everything around you. People are looking for God. We all are used to, we have grown up worshipping God. God in idols, in the temples, in the images. We have shrines in our home where we will keep idols and images. I think most of us have grown like that. Praying to God, praising God with shlokas and chants. People are looking for God, praising God, and in order to have a touch and protection from God, they erect temples, construct puja rooms, perform various rituals. So, to be in connection with God, what we do? We make a temple. Where from our own home we have to go to the temple and worship. We can sit there, look at the deity. There are many devotees, who say that I want to go and sit in the temple and look at the devotees, how they are devoted. I have seen some devotees here who have told me that they go to Guruvayur temple here in Thrissur just to sit and look at the devotees, their devotion, and just look at the face of the idol. To be in that devotional atmosphere. So for that, we need to have a temple. So that is why people, to have that divine touch, which is different from the touch that we get from the world in our own home. We miss it in our own home. So we have to have a temple when we go, we feel everything is divine, everything is pure, everything is sublime. So we make a temple, and temple always we cannot go. So we also have a puja shrine or a puja room in our own house. If one cannot afford to have a different room for the puja, in one corner of a room, one will put up a shrine. And that place is the most holy, divine and auspicious place for everybody in the family. And what do we look for? We want to have that sublime and divine touch. We feel that when we go there and we do pranam, we offer our pranams, we offer our prayers, God will protect us. So, this is what everybody wants. And for getting the touch of God, that is the godly touch, the divine touch, we do many rituals also. In a particular rituals, that particular day, a very significant day of worship, we will collect so many items and give a puja, and with lot of rituals, we feel that day is very auspicious. Is it not quite away from the ideal, from the reality? Swamiji is asking. Is it not quite away from the ideal, from the reality? The fact is that the whole earth itself is godly or divine, as are the other heavenly bodies hovering in the sky. So Swamiji is trying to make us feel that you think all the heavenly bodies, we feel they are divine. Our earth is also our heavenly body, which is rotating around the sun. So the earth itself is divine. So if the earth itself is divine, why is it that we have to have special divine places where we will feel divine? Why not? Wherever we are, we feel divine ourselves. That is what is our aim. Wherever we are, through our thought, through our actions, through our speech, our behavior, we should feel I am a divine person. So, if the fact is that the whole earth itself is godly or divine, as are the other heavenly bodies hovering in the sky, all are born from the unfathomable space or void. Are they not divine? All the celestial objects are divine. They have emerged from the unfathomable space or void. If the earth is divine, then whatever has grown on the earth is also divine, including our own body. The earth itself is divine. So whatever has grown on the earth is also divine. And so our body, we ourselves, our own existence, our body-mind intelligence complex is divine. Instead of realizing this divinity, which is already there in us and around us, we construct temples to install God there. My dear children, are you understanding? What is Swamiji trying to tell us? That we are essentially divine. All the celestial objects, the heavenly bodies, including our earth, if they are heavenly and divine, the earth is divine. And we who have grown in this earth, whatever has grown in this earth, all the creatures, all the beings, including us, our body, is divine itself. Everything is divine. So, why then, if everything is divine around us, we have to construct temples and install God, thinking that that particular place, that sanctum sanctorum, is the only divine entity, or that is the only divine place. Why we think like this? Why do we go to temples? Why do we have puja shrine? Because apart from that, other places we are not finding the divinity by our ignorance. We feel that only those places which are temples or puja shrines, those are the divine places. We are not able to see the divinity in other things. But as a spiritual seeker, we must aim to see this divinity everywhere. This is the aim of spirituality. Know that God resides within you. Know that God is everywhere, self is everywhere, and it is the one self everywhere. Everywhere it is the divine and divinity alone. This is the whole aim of spirituality. Then Swamiji says, not being able to find God in the rock created by God Himself, we create an idol out of it and worship it as God. Unless a self-realized master tells us and points us to this truth, which is so real, we understand only then that how foolish we are. So what do? God has created this earth. God has created the rock. And we don't think that the rock from where we have taken apart and we chisel it and make into an idol, we don't consider the rock to be divine. We consider only that chiseled image to be God. So, how foolish we are. Only when this jnana chakshu, that is why it is said, the Guru, he opens our jnana chakshu. He enlightens us, tells us, see, whole thing is divine and you are also divine. You are a fool that you mistakenly think that you are worldly and you are covered with your possessiveness, desires and everything, so that you are not able to see the truth. So he points, holding our hand, the Guru holds our hand, and relentlessly he will be telling us how we can find divinity in ourselves and in everything, the same divinity. So he says that not being able to find God in the rock created by God Himself, God has created the rock. We create an idol out of that rock and worship it as God. But he says, well, it is okay that you make chisel into an idol and put it in a temple and you worship, that is okay. As a preliminary lesson, initial practice, it is okay. It is okay. You are not finding divinity in your houses, in whatever you do. At least have a temple, at least have a shrine, and put an idol or image and worship it. That is okay. But that is the preliminary stage, initial stage. From that stage, we must go upwards. How will we go? With whose help we can go? We can go with the help of the Guru and the Shastras. Guru will explain the Shastras so that we can understand them. So he says, okay, you have created a temple, it is very good. Those who are not seeking to know what is this divinity everywhere, For them it is okay. Go to a temple and worship. But sooner or later, we must try to feel divinity in the entire creation. I don't know, my dear children, does it give you any sublime feeling, this sentence? Sooner or later, we must find divinity in the entire creation, because the entire creation is from the Divine Supreme. In Bhagavad Gita, he says, Aham sarvasya prabhavaha mattas sarvam pravartate. Everything has emerged from me, the Supreme, and I activate everything. There is a beautiful verse Ma often sings. Lokesha Chaitanya Mayadi Deva Shri Kanta Vishnu Bhavadajnayaiva Pratas Samuthaya Tava Priyartham Samsara Yatram Anuvartaishe. This I used to chant. Before coming and joining the ashram, taking my refuge at the feet of my master, Pujya Swamiji. While I was in the household, it was Pujya Swamiji who had grown in me the love for learning shlokas, Sanskrit shlokas. First he told me, read Bhagavatam, do research in Srimad Bhagavatam. I did not know Sanskrit much, very little I knew. But a Bhagavatam, Sanskrit and English translation I bought from Gita Press, and a Sanskrit English dictionary also I bought. And I used to chant those shlokas, read the meanings. Very soon Swamiji told me to learn shlokas. He gave me a book which was a compilation of shlokas which Swamiji himself had collected from various scriptures and prakaranas. That book is out of print now, but may be found in the website. So I used to learn from that and chant to myself, to my heart's content, chanting to my own indweller, as if I was chanting to the self within, loving him, putting all my feelings and emotions and sentiments, my devotion at his feet, whom I did not know. Who is that self? What is the self? Who is God? Not known to us. But I started chanting shlokas. Seeing my interest, Swamiji started sending me shlokas from not only devotional shlokas, shlokas on jnana, shlokas on other prakaranas, and he would write the shlokas in Sanskrit, type the meanings, and through post. Those days were the days of post and not email. So I used to learn them. I got so fond of chanting shlokas that I started looking for books which had collection of shlokas and found some books like this in Kolkata from Gita Press, Ramakrishna Mission, and all that. So in one of the books, this shloka I came across. Lokesha Chaitanya Mayadi Deva Shri Kanta Vishnu Bhavadajnayaiva Pratas Samuthaya Tava Priyartham Samsara Yatram anuvartayishe. Lokesha Chaitanyamaya Shrikanta Vishnu Bhavadatyayaiva Pratasamuthaya Tava Priyartham Samsarayatram Anuvartayishe. So I used to chant this very often. And when I came here to the ashram, I used to chant it in front of Swamiji, and Swamiji said, it's a beautiful verse, and it has been added to our morning prayers. So what does it mean? I think many of you know. It says, Lokesha, the devotee, is calling out to God in various names. You know, when does a devotee call God with various names? He calls when he loves God. Just like we call our children with various names. We love the children. We love the child. So we give various names. Morning we will call with some name. Evening we will call with another name. Grandfather will call by one name, grandmother will call by another name. So the love, the expression of love is in calling with loving names. So this devotee is saying, calling out to God, calling him with various names. Lokesha, he says, Lokesha, O controller of the world. O the Supreme Lord, you the controller of the world, who is of the nature of consciousness, Chaitanyamaya. Then Adideva, you are the God of the gods. That is, you are the primordial God, the beginning one. Then Shrikanta, you are the consort of Shri, Lakshmi. Vishnu, O Vishnu. So many names he has called. Then he says, Bhavad Ajnayaiva, Bhavad Ajnayaiva, with your command or order. Because of your command or order, Pratas Samuthaya, I have got up in the morning. Tava Priyartham, for your pleasure, Samsarayatram Anuvartaishi, I will do my worldly activities in this world. What does he say? Calling out God in various names. He says, with your command, I have got up early in the morning and I understand. He says that waking up by your command in the morning, we undertake this voyage in the world for the sake of your pleasure alone. This is the meaning. If we go a little deeper, he is saying, by your command I get up in the morning. My dear children, when we sleep at night, we go to bed, we lie down on the bed, our head is on the pillow. We don't have any control over when our eyes close. We don't come to know when it's going to close. Some days it immediately closes. Some days we are awake for quite some time. Exactly when the eyes will close with sleep is not in our hands, not under our control. It is controlled by that Supreme. Similarly, when we get up in the morning, at what point the eyes will wake up into this morning is not in our hands. When that Supreme wishes or wills, we wake up. That is why it is said, this sloka is saying, Bhavad Ajnaya Eva, by your order, by your command. It is not I who do it. Only this much is enough to understand that my life is in the hands of the Supreme. He wishes, so I live. The day he will not wish, the body will fall. For many, if he has not wished, they die in their sleep itself. So, for a devotee, it is enough to remember that it's not I who am doing, it's not I. It is you, the Supreme, who is the master of my life. And by your order, by your command, everything is happening. If it is so, the samsara yatra, when I get up in the morning, one day is in front of me, and in that day, so many work come up. Some work I like, some work I do not like, some people I like, some people I do not like, but I have to interact with them. Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm not happy. Understanding that you have wakened me up in this world into a new day. It is only by your wish, everything that comes in front of me as interactions or actions, it is by your command, your wish, or your propelling. Thinking that you are the master of my life, O my Lord, I will do everything to the best of my ability, happily, tava priyartham, for your pleasure alone. Pratas samuthaya tava priyartham samsara yatram anuvartaishe. This samsara yatra, this worldly activity which is in front of me, I will do, or we will do, to please you, for your pleasure alone. This is the meaning. Then Swamiji speaks further. Now he says, the consciousness within you, the power and presence within you puts you to sleep. The same power wakes you up. Can you see how the divinity and sublimity are generated and felt by these thoughts? Now, what is Swamiji trying to infuse in us? He is saying that this sublimity we have to generate. The divinity we have to generate. So, when we sleep, remembering that supreme power, the supreme God, He has put us into sleep and He has waken us up in the morning. The same power wakes you up. Can you see how the divinity and sublimity are generated and felt by these thoughts? My dear children, when we go to sleep and we get up from sleep in the morning, we don't have these thoughts. When we go to sleep, we will be thinking of many other things which we have done the whole day, or maybe in the past, or planning about the future and sleep off. When we get up also, we do not think about this truth that I have been able to get up because that supreme power has wished that I should get up. But suppose we make a habit of remembering it when we go to sleep, that, oh Lord, actually every day we should pray and sleep that, oh Lord, let me be embraced by you, my own self, while I sleep. You empower me through the sleep, deep sleep, by your embrace, by my union with you and make me get up in the morning fresh, invigorated and empowered. This should be our prayer when we go to sleep. And when we get up, we should be grateful, thanking God that, oh, you have made me get up into another day. You have wished it. That is, we remember Him. Through that, what do we remember? God and His divinity, His divine powers, His sublimity. The same divinity, we find divinity in the very first involuntary action of waking up. So what is Swamiji telling us? Again I'll go through it. Can you see how the divinity and sublimity are generated and felt by these thoughts? What is the thought? This sloka, that, oh God, you have made me get up. By your order, your command, I have got up. Not by myself. I have done nothing. I have no control. It is you, the divine, the universal one, has made me get up into this world and given me the tasks of the whole day. If we think like this, we are immediately connected to the divinity, the divine, the supreme, the great, magnificent Lord. So, Swamiji is telling us that, can you see how the divinity and sublimity are generated and felt by these thoughts? That is, the thought should be this, and not thoughts about what you are going to do, what you are planning, where you want to go for a sightseeing, or what parties you want to go, or about your children, about your other things, profession, crisscross thoughts which make you restless, make you unpeaceful, make you worldly. Think about God, that I am in your lap now, I want to be embraced by you. And get up in the morning. We find divinity in the very first involuntary action of the waking up. So when we wake up and we think that, oh, by your touch, your wish, I have got up. So that involuntary act of waking up, why he is saying involuntary? Because we are not doing it ourselves. It just happens. It's not controlled by us. By that very act of waking up, we are finding divinity. We will find divinity if we think a little. The same divinity we find in all our activities throughout the day. The same divinity we must find if we think throughout all our activities about that supreme power, about that universal power who has given us various tasks. And Swamiji says, the same divinity we find in all our activities throughout the day. In brushing teeth, taking bath, taking food, in going to the office and coming back home, in walking, talking, thinking, in everything that comes our way. What is he talking about? What are the examples Swamiji has taken? The usual day-to-day work. And there is what Swamiji wants to hit upon us. My dear children, when we worship, we think about Him. When we go to temple, we think about Him. We do not think about Him or associate with Him when we do our everyday work, mundane work, office work, household work. So he's saying that same divinity we find in all our activities throughout the day. In brushing our teeth. Remember, I am brushing the teeth today because He had made me get up, given me the life. It is He who gives life to my body, my limbs, my senses, my mind and intelligence, they are active because of the consciousness in me. So I am able to brush my teeth because he is present there. I am able to take bath because he is making my limbs active. Taking a mug of water, pouring on the head and taking bath, dressing up, taking food, going to the office, coming back home, in walking, talking, thinking, in everything that comes our way. My dear children, it is so much common in our day, these activities. What we have to do is just stop for a while and think of the consciousness which is making our body active. Because of that supreme power, His wish, His will, His making us do these things that we are able to. Otherwise we will not be able to. The same divinity we find in the very purpose of our life. I follow the course set by you for your own ultimate purpose. The very purpose of our life should be this. We are so many people in this world. In our family, even in the ashram, every individual is different. Every thought process is different. Everybody's activities are different. Everybody's wishes, motivations are different. All these are created by God. But in one thing we can be the same, understanding that He alone is rotating the wheel of our life. The consciousness, the presence inside us. And He is making us get up in the morning. Be alive. Be alive. We never think of that. When we get up in the morning, we are in a hurry to finish our daily routine and get set for whatever is awaiting us. It may be household work, it may be professional work, or any other thing. It may be worship, going to your own shrine or go to the temple and go for a pradakshina. That is, a routineous day comes in front. In that, God is remembered only for a while when we chant some stotra, when we light the lamp. Maybe. In many cases it is routinous alone. While lighting a lamp also we may be thinking of our grandchildren. While lighting a lamp, incense stick, we may be thinking of some job in the office. We are not thinking that this life, that I am alive, that I am conscious, that I am able to do anything, is because of the Supreme Presence who is within us, who gives me the power. So Swamiji is saying, by giving so many examples, that everyday work, the very common work that we do, in that, think that He has made me alive, made me conscious, brought to me the power of activity, given me the power of thought, that I am able to work. And we should say that the same divinity, we should find the very purpose of our life. The very purpose of our life should be to find this divinity. And we should say, I follow the course set by you for your own ultimate purpose. We plan many things. We sometimes execute our plans, implement our plans. We are very happy. Many times we plan, but it doesn't get successful. What should be our attitude? Our attitude should be, in whatever you have given me, the work in front of me, I will do happily, excellently, without any sangha, without any clinging to any particular work or its results. Results will come, results will be there, outcome will come. When we do our work, outcome will be there. But we should constantly remain associated with that divine universal power, the Supreme, by thinking that whatever the course you have designed for me, I will follow that course happily. The whole life thus fits into the system of the world. This sentence is very, very important. The whole life thus fits into the system of the world. Why Swamiji is saying this? The Supreme has created the whole creation. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha. Everything has emerged from Him. This whole universe, including our body. The whole universe, look at it. The heavenly bodies, the trees, the plants, the rivers, everything follow the pattern which the Supreme designs for them. The sun rises, the sun sets. Moon rises, the moon sets. Seasons come one after another. After summer, rain will come. After rain, winter will come. Again after winter, summer will come. It never happens in a hodgepodge manner. The seasonal flowers will come, the seasonal fruits will come, and this is how they go on. They follow the pattern of the Supreme, the nature. In that also, in fruits and flowers also, the Supreme has His own design. Sometimes, if you plant few plants, 2 will perish, 3 will only remain. Or in a fruit tree, some will drop off when they are young, will not grow to the maximum size. Flowers sometimes will not bloom fully. 1 or 2 petals will be crooked. That is all His design. Similarly, mankind, we must understand our life is also designed by Him and take to it happily. The whole life thus fits into the system of the world when we are able to say, I follow the course set by you for your own ultimate purpose. It becomes a part of the divine's huge karma yajna. The yajna is going on. Yajna is going on in full circle. And we must remember this, that I as an individual is only a speck into that. My dear children, only because we forget, we feel, I have achieved this, I have this much position, I have this much qualification, I have got so much of property, name, fame, etc. How insignificant we are in this whole universe which is rotating and rotating. You grow up, go to school, get employed, get married, bring up children, do many things in the domestic, social or professional field. All these you are able to do because the earth revolves, seasons follow, the sun rises and sets, the heart beats, lungs bellow, and the mind thinks. Mind should think. Our problem is that we do not think ourselves to be a part of this karma yajna. We feel we are different, as if we have ourselves created ourselves. That is why so much of kartritva comes, I-ness comes, so much of bhoktritva comes, enjoyership, doership and enjoyership, I-ness and mine-ness come. As if I have created myself. As if I can create somebody else. The whole creation is somebody else's creation. That supreme universal power. And I am a speck of it. And I am doing all these things in my life. You grow up, go to school, get employed and get married, bring up children, do many things in the domestic, social or professional field. All these you are able to do because the earth revolves. Seasons follow. The sun rises and sets. And the heart beats, lungs bellow, and the mind thinks. We are a speck of this whole yajna. And if the mind can think properly, then only we understand that we are a speck. And we are also revolving like this. When you link up all the activities, big and small, with the inner presence, the universal power and its will, then where is the scope for any preference and prejudice? The whole life will become divine and sublime when looked at with this comprehensive vision. When we understand this, all the activities, big, small, important, unimportant, likable, not likable, with the inner presence, when we link up all the activities with the inner presence, the universal power, the will, then where is the scope for any preference or prejudice? We are always having likes and dislikes. We prefer this, we want to have certain things, we do not want certain things. And that is why we are always having anxiety and fear. Suppose we don't get what we want. Suppose we get what we do not want. These are the anxieties. These are the basic anxiety and fear in everybody, in every individual. But if we have the comprehensive vision where the whole life becomes sublime and divine, and we understand our connection with the divine, the supreme power, the universal power and its will and its design for this whole universe, then preference and prejudices will not be there. Preference may be there, but one will not be affected if you do not get what you prefer. Samatva will dawn. Definitely, everybody would like to have the best thing, the better thing, what you wish in life. Problem comes that we want particularly something and we do not want to have particularly something else. So preference and prejudices, not having preferences and prejudices means what? We will try our best to do the best. But suppose it doesn't happen in the manner in which we have planned or we have worked, we will not be affected because we are constantly connected to the thought and the knowledge that I am part of the divine and I am divine. This is the comprehensive vision. My dear souls, divinity is not to be gained from outside. It has to be generated. You have to become divine. Your problem is, you think the samsara yatra, voyage in the world, as yours. And you keep God at a distance, allocating only a few minutes or hours for His thoughts. And you want to reach Him. The fundamental ignorance lies in creating and preserving this difference or division between you and divinity, between you and God. Very, very important. What is this? He says, your problem is that, he said about the comprehensive vision, that whatever we do, whatever we think, whatever is our daily routine, from the very common things that we do, everyday usual things that we do, to our work, household work, professional work, societal work, any work, our interactions with people, everywhere we must think that I am part of that yajna that the Supreme Power is having. I am part of that and remain connected with that divinity. I am divine. Have that comprehensive vision. What is that connection? Never forgetting that He is making me conscious and making me act. My life is because of that consciousness. So, when we have that comprehensive vision, he says that then will be the sublimity and divinity always felt. And then Swamiji says, the problem that everybody, even the seekers, who are not able to find this divinity and sublimity, the problem is that everybody thinks the samsara yatra, that is all the worldly activities that we do, from going to the market, bringing vegetables, cooking, eating, going to school or college or office or anywhere, doing other household work, taking the child to the school, thinking of the child's education, anything that we do for our family, society, etc., we consider it to be different from godliness. We think that is a samsara yatra. And godliness is only in the temple and in the worship shrine. So, we give our thought to God only for some hours or few minutes in the day. And while doing all this activity, which we are able to do because the Supreme Power has designed us or wished us to become active by making us get up in the morning. Suppose He wished that one will not get up, will die in the bed, then that person will not get up to do any work. That we have got up in the morning, Bhavad Ajnaya eva, Bhavad Ajnaya eva. By your order, by your command, I have got up in the morning, Pratas Samuthaya. I will never forget that you have made me get up in the morning and made me alive. How can I forget that fact? That you are there, that is, I am there. The connection is so much. Just like the whole world is rotating in a karma yajna, I am also being rotated by you. In Bhagavad Gita there is a sloka that I rotate, I am in everybody's heart. I am in everybody's heart, and remaining there, I rotate everybody as if in a wheel by my wish. So, we should remember that. We do not do that. Only we think of God when we are praying to Him, worshipping Him, chanting something regularly, routinely, every day one chapter of Bhagavad Gita, one chapter of this stotra, one full Vishnu Sahasranama, full Lalita Sahasranama, so many things we do. Very good. To be doing it with discipline and austerity is also good. But as Swamiji said, that it is only the initial practice. It is only the preliminary lesson. To be finding godliness only in those moments. Now is time for a seeker to find godliness and divinity in the whole universe, in all thoughts, everywhere, everything, at all moments, here, there, up, down, inside, outside, everywhere. How will we do that? We have to stop and think. Well, as he says, that when we get up in the morning, in brushing the teeth, the same divinity we will find in all our activities throughout the day. We have to try, we have to will, we have to wish, yearn. In brushing the teeth, when we brush, we should feel that, oh God, because you have made me get up and given me the life of today, I am brushing. You have given my limbs, my hands, power to brush like this. This brush also is made from some materials which you have created. I have not created. All the things which we use, if you go to the cause of it, you will find those are the 5 elements. The 5 elements are not caused by us, the Panchabhutas. It's caused by God Himself. We have not created. So, in brushing the teeth, in taking bath, oh, water, you have created the water. My dear God, I am grateful that you give me water to take bath. In this way you can think. Oh God, when I pour water on my body, let me feel that purity, what we feel when we take dip in holy rivers. Can we not think like this? We don't think. We will be thinking so many unnecessary things, crisscross things, as Krishna is telling Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. All these chintas, all these thought processes do not leave us till our body falls. But he has told us how we can grow over them, go beyond them. So he says, in brushing the teeth, taking bath, taking food, in going to the office and coming back home, in walking, talking, thinking, in everything we can think of the divinity. Feel that it is you who is making me do all these things. But what we do is that we have so much of ignorance. The fundamental ignorance lies. He says the ignorance in man is that he creates this ignorance that God is somewhere else and I am this person worldly. I have to reach Him, whereas I am godly. He is inside us. I am a part of Him. Every godly quality is there in us. We fail to see it. And we keep a difference or division between the divinity, between God and ourselves. That division, that differentialism should vanish. Then will be spirituality had. Then Swamiji starts saying in a very slow voice, all are divine. Divinity is everywhere. Feel this by becoming sublime. Words will come to a stop. Thoughts will cease. You will start feeling vastness, silence, peace. Eyes will close by themselves. Heartbeat will come down. So much of sublimity you can feel. Feel. Swamiji's voice became lower and lower, deeper and deeper, and finally faded into silence from which has come this world and all the heavenly bodies. With the sun finally being able to pierce the eastern clouds, the whole assembly was bathed in the morning rays, and more so in the engulfing sublimity. All are divine. Divinity is everywhere. Feel this by becoming sublime. Words will come to a stop. Thoughts will cease. You will start feeling vastness, silence, peace. Eyes will close by themselves. Heartbeat will come down. So much of sublimity you can feel. 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 यत्रैव मनो मदीयं तत्रैव तव स्वरूपं यत्रैव शिरो मदीयं तत्रैव पदद्वयं ते यत्रैव मनो मदीयं तत्रैव तव स्वरूपं यत्रैव शिरो मदीयं तत्रैव पदद्वयं ते